guys have been following me at all on Facebook, you know that I deliver papers at night. It's 7 days a week. I started teaching English as a second language online, which Monday is the only day I don't do that. And I did an open house yesterday. And so basically I decided to just take the day off. I decided to just relax. I was exhausted. I got off my paper route this morning and I passed out and took a nice long nap. And just figured, everybody needs a day off every once in a while, and I haven't had one in over a month, so I thought I'd take the day off. And also use the day to prepare our meals for the rest of the week. So the reason we do that is because you know how life is. You're busy, you work all day, and then next thing you know, you're home, you're cooking dinner, and then it's bedtime, you eat, you give the kid a bath, and then it's bedtime, and then the next thing you know, 6 months have gone by, and you just feel like you've gotten no time with your family, no time to rest. So we cook our meals throughout the week because it just saves us time in the evenings. We can get off work, we can just heat the food up, sit down and eat as a family, and have a few hours to relax and not be so stressed out all through the night. So today I'm going to be preparing 3 dishes. The first dish is I'm actually making 2 stews. We were supposed to eat beef stew last week, and we still have the beef and everything. We didn't get to it, so I'm going to be preparing beef stew. I'm also going to be preparing some linguine with a Italian sausage tomato sauce, and also something I call actually I don't have a name for it because usually we call it mungo bean. It's a mungo bean dish with chicken, carrots, spinach, and stuff like that. But I'm not using mungo beans. I'm using pinto beans, and I basically cook it like a stew with carrots, spinach, onions, garlic, and chicken wings. And it's so good that you cook it until the chicken is just, you try to pick a chicken wing up and all the bones fall out, and you got this nice tender chicken wing meat. It's just delicious. You eat it on some rice. I like to eat it on rice. A lot of my wife and a lot of Americans don't because, you got the beans, so you already got your starch. But, I'm Filipino. I eat rice with just about everything if I can. Not as much as I used to, but, So we'll be cooking some rice today as well. Other than that, right now what I'm doing is just cutting up the vegetables for everything. I've got my carrots. I got the garlic already chopped up. I'm in the process of chopping the onions, and I've got some basil for the pasta. We got the carrots here, and I use frozen spinach just because it's easier and cheaper. We're all about efficiency. I used to make my own tomato sauce, but we found a really good one that tasted great from Aldi's. So we use that now because, again, we're trying to save time. It doesn't have any high fructose corn syrup or anything like that in it. It's an organic tomato sauce, so why not? If it's good, if it works, go with it. So anyway, right now what I did want to show you real quick was how to cut an onion, how to dice an onion. I don't know if you know this trick yet or not, but the first way most people cut an onion is what we in the culinary world called grandma cut. So you cut the onion like that, and then you cut it this way, and then you cut it like that in the dices, which obviously it works really well, right? These are a little bit bigger than I wanted, but that's okay. We'll just cook the hell out of them. By the way, Colette, if you are watching this, I know that in my calendar I have myself doing door knocking and stuff today, and I feel horrible, partly because I feel like I'm letting you down, but I needed a day off. So what I think I'm going to do is turn Monday into my regular day off every week, And then I'm going to door knock Tuesday through Friday. I'm going to cold call on Saturdays. I'm going to do my follow-ups. And I'm going to do an open house every Sunday if possible. So I'm still working more than the average agent. So that should make you happy. But if please don't be disappointed in me. Okay? So back to cutting an onion. This is how we like to cut an onion in the culinary world. And don't mind the deli. I haven't worked out or eaten healthy in a while. I'll get back to it. But anyway, so to cut, you like that knife? This was my first good culinary knife. I got it for culinary school. Came with a whole bunch of other knives. This is the only one that's left. That's what happens also when you work around other people who don't respect your property. But anyway, so the good thing about this cut is you have a little more control. Like the way I cut a second ago, the way the onions could have easily, you have less control because the pieces could fall apart. You're having to hold on to it. Luckily, I'm used to holding on to things, but for the average person, they might not have the best grip, and then you're struggling to try to keep these slices together. This way, you keep the end on of the onion, where all of the layers basically are connected. And then what you do is, you can do it this way. You also can skip this because the onion's already in layers. What I like to do is cut it one time through the middle. Actually, I like to do a little more than that, depending on, I'm trying to get really small cuts, so I'll cut in some small layers, and I'll slice it through the middle this way. And then you cut it from the top, and it's still holding together because of this end piece. You see? So you got pretty good control, and then you just slice it this way, and you have these great little minced pieces of onions. You can cut them thicker and bigger dices. You can cut them in smaller dices or medium-sized dices. You can go even thinner. Usually at this point, when you get to the end, I like to try to use as much of the onion as possible, so I kind of cut it up like that. You have some diced onion. You know, it's funny, I used to brag about how onions didn't make me cry, but what people didn't realize is I was always wearing contact lenses, so they kind of protected my eyes from onions. But I don't have my contact lenses in right now, and these onions are really kicking my ass. Now, the way I just cut that, you can really cut anything like that. You can dice anything like that. Apple, pineapple, anything that you can slice, what's the word I'm looking for? Horizontally, and then perpendicularly, and then perpendicularly again with the table. If you can do that, and you can cut anything that way. It's a great method for dicing anything. So that's how you cut an onion. It's really all I got. Let me share with you how to do some basil. We got all this great basil here. I've got a little bucket here that I'm throwing all my scraps into. Because as you can see, I'm doing this on the couch because I was Netflixing and cutting, but I thought I'd do something a little constructive. So, and share cooking methods with you guys. Anyway, so with basil, you basically want to tear the leaves off from the stem. This is what we call a chiffonade in the culinary world. Basically, you're going to take the basil leaves and stack them. as many as you can. Then you're going to roll it. Take your knife. Just slice nice, thin ribbons of basil. If you lose some pieces, it's okay. You got this great pile of basil strips. And put them in this bowl. And just repeat the process with all of your basil that you want to use. It's not as important to flatten them out and roll them up perfectly. I mean, the biggest thing is just that you have a large leaf on the outside that can fit all the rest of them in when you do the roll. Now, the reason I can cut and not really and look away is because the way I'm holding my hand, I'll never be able to cut myself. A lot of people hold things like this and they cut, which is dangerous. Obviously, you can just cut your finger off. But what you want to do is use the back of your nails to press down so that your knuckles are curled, and you press the knife against your knuckles as a guide, and you cut. And then you just kind of walk your fingers backwards. It takes practice, but you catch on to it pretty easily. And you'll never cut your finger that way, unless you accidentally step too far, which I've done in the past. Okay, so that's cutting basil, that's cutting onions. When we get to the stove, I'll turn this back on and you guys can turn on the camera and show you the exact process. But right now I got my Italian sausage cooking back here. I added some onions and the garlic, and then I've got my pinto beans and chicken wings, carrots, spinach, cooking in this pressure cooker. That's going to make it nice and tenderized. Going to lock those juices inside that chicken meat. And then I got my beef stew coming to a simmer right here. We're going to let this cook uncovered, and what that does, it allows the liquid to steam and vaporize off, slowly reduce it'll thicken slightly. And yeah, I've got my basil here. Once I get this meat cooking, I'm going to drain off the fat and then add the sauce. Even though it is a store-bought sauce and it tastes great, I still just like to add some of my own stuff just to embolden the flavor, and just make it stand out a little stronger. So I still add some onions, garlic, and then a little extra basil because I love that sweet, earthy flavor of the basil. At my house, I like to take some kosher salt. We're almost out, but I take kosher salt, little granulated garlic, and black pepper, and I pre-mix it. Mostly, we'll say probably 50% salt, and then the other two broken down, 25%, 25%. And I keep that on hand so I can just quickly season things as I cook. And yeah, so we got things going. This is my friend Steven. He keeps time for me. And that's about it, guys. So, if you ever find yourself cooking in the kitchen all week or eating out all the time because you don't have time to cook, try this. Try cooking all your meals one day of the week. It doesn't take that long. It doesn't take all day. I used to think it would, but it doesn't. It just takes a few hours. as you get good at it, as you know, I'm a little faster because I was a professional chef, a professional cook for so long. I'm used to cooking a lot of things at one time. My wife takes a little bit longer because she does one meal, one thing at a time. But you know, think about how you can take shortcuts. Maybe cut all your vegetables like I did. Get all your prep, all of your ingredients in order, and then throw as many pots out as you can, and start cooking. Try to consolidate steps if you can. Another neat trick is to go ahead and learn how to make some vinaigrettes and sauces. Keep them in your fridge, and then you can just make some basic meals each night. Saute some fish, throw some chicken in the oven, or saute or grill a piece of chicken breasts. You know, have some vegetables that you can cook real quick, or frozen. Frozen's fine. And then you can have different sauces to pour on top of that meat just to change it up every once in a while. So, but anyway, think about these things. It's just one more thing that you can cut time out of your week and enjoy more time with your family, or more time sitting around playing Xbox, which I think I might get ready to go do. I'm trying to turn it off, but I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.